BYU football looks to bounce back with a win and give fans something to cheer about for homecoming. Why this game means more than others to football players.
Many BYU fans are calling for Zach Wilson to replace Tanner Mangum as the starting quarterback after last week's loss. What the coaches are saying about Zach's potential.
What's up, Cougar Nation? Just got out of surgery. Everything went well. Road to recovery starts now. Hashtag finding out why. Go Cougs.
A BYU football player is the first to receive a groundbreaking knee surgery in the state of Utah. I'm Haley Davis.
And I'm Nathan Mitchelson. We are here this close to Friday the 13th, but instead it's time for Sportsline. Haley, the weather may be cooling down, but it is heating up here on campus as former and future Cougars are everywhere for homecoming week.
Hey, it's right. And you know what, boys? Tonight is the homecoming dance, so it might be time to find a lady and dust off that old homecoming suit. This week isn't just any week for BYU, it's homecoming week.
And homecoming week is always full of activities like dances. And Lindsay Peterson joins us now. Lindsay, there's been a lot going on around campus this week, right?
Spectacular, the homecoming parade, and of course the tailgate party tomorrow in preparation for the Cougars to take on the Rainbow Warriors tomorrow night.
BYU lost last year's homecoming game to Boise State and are hoping to have better luck this year.
Excited to just go out and continue to keep showing what BYU football is, and I think we've had a great week of practice so far.
Hawaii was one of BYU's 4 wins last year as the Cougars beat them on their home turf 30-20. However, Hawaii has improved and hold a 6-1 record so far this season. Hawaii's only loss comes from Army, which puts them as the heavy favorites to win the Mountain West Conference. BYU has never lost to Hawaii in Provo and overall have a 22-8 record against the Bows dating back to 1930.
And we're excited to just go out and play this week. It'll be fun.
With it being homecoming week, that means a lot of alumni will be back in Provo, including former football players coming out to support their Cougars. Senior offensive lineman and one of the captains of this year's team, Austin Hoyt, understands the tradition that comes with BYU football.
We've talked a lot this week just about tradition, and I think the stadium represents a lot of different players who have played for Lavelle, for a bunch of different coaches, and it means a lot to a lot of people who will be there.
It will even be a homecoming for a Hawaii coach. Mark Weber was the BYU offensive line coach for 6 seasons starting in 2007 and will make a return to Lavelle Edwards Stadium as Hawaii's offensive line coach. The game will also mean a lot to senior wide receiver Dylan Colley, who played for Hawaii for 3 seasons prior to transferring to BYU. Regardless of how a BYU game or season goes, most fans can agree with Hoyt on what BYU means to them.
To all the people I've met here, it's made BYU a really special place that I want to come back and visit frequently.
Homecoming week will wrap up as the Cougars take the field at 8:15 tomorrow night at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. And if you aren't able to be at the game, you can catch it on ESPN2 and BYU TV.
And Cougar fans heading to the game tomorrow can say aloha to cooler temperatures. Kickoff will be at 8:15 p.m., starting at a chilly 47 degrees. With the sun already down and clear skies, expect the temperature to continue dropping as the game wears on. The cold air coupled with the high humidity will make it feel colder than it actually is. So fans, you might want to pack an extra blanket.
In the battle for the wagon wheel, BYU fell short last Friday with a humbling loss of 45-20 against the Aggies. This raised questions on whether quarterback change should be made for tomorrow's homecoming game. Sportsline reporter Natasha Ramirez has more on the story. Natasha?
Well, fans are fed up with BYU's performance on the gridiron and are looking for a change.
I think that if Tanner Mangum isn't doing his job, which he's not right now because the offensive line is not doing very hot, then he should be replaced.
And in Friday's post-game interview, Sataki hinted at some possible lineup changes in the upcoming games.
There's nothing that I'm not open to, right? So all of it, I'm open to all of it being evaluated, and that's my job as head coach, is to make sure that we perform better. We just have not played well enough as a team.
The most notable change would be freshman Zach Wilson, who made an impressive 77-yard touchdown drive in the last few minutes of the game, even with many of the Aggie starters still on the field. With his impressive skills finally seen on Friday, offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes is looking at putting him in more.
As with any position, there's a possibility that we could start a player that has not started. And so, yeah, there's a possibility that Zach could start.
Fans are expecting that Wilson, the freshman quarterback from Draper, Utah, will indeed replace Mangum in tomorrow's. So, whether it's Mangum or Wilson on the field, the team is hopeful that tomorrow's game against Hawaii will go better than last week. The game will be played at Lavelle Edwards Stadium at 8:15 p.m.
BYU football goes through a turbulent week as head coach Kalani Sitake makes decisions on the makeup of the team, specifically at quarterback. Chris Jacobs went to find out what the fans thought about all of this.
In a press conference earlier this week, Coach Kalani Sitake said he is open to any changes that will help the team to win.
I'm open to everything as far as change if it will make us better.
No matter who it may involve.
Everyone will compete, and we'll see who plays on Saturday.
Sitake faces multiple decisions before BYU's game against Hawaii. The question that many ask is, will Sitake start Tanner Mangum or Zach Wilson as quarterback? Fans are torn about the possible changes.
As we're going into the end of his senior year, that he definitely should start sitting down a little bit more and giving experience to the younger guy, because we do have a future to look forward to.
You can't replace Tanner Mangum, can you?
Behind me is the BYU indoor practice facility where the BYU football team practices and where we can imagine Tanner Mangum and Zach Wilson are once again vying for that top quarterback position.
However, though many fans do feel Sitake should replace Mangum, they voiced a common sentiment. More than Mangum contributed to the struggles BYU's football team now faces.
It's hard to put it just on Tanner Mangum.
He has his share of the issues, but I would not lay the bulk of the blame at the feet of Tanner Mangum.
While Mangum performed less than hoped for, the entire offensive line has struggled.
There have been plenty of drop balls by receivers and tight ends, and
ultimately, Coach Sitake will make the decision, not the fans.
My call, so yeah, it'll be all of our calls, but it'll come down to me.
Reporting for Sportsline in Provo, I'm Chris Jacobs.
Once the teams hit the field, this Saturday we'll know for certain what Sitake has decided.
Morone Laupututau is awake from surgery and doing well after a new and very rare knee surgery.
Sal? Junior? And?
Kira.
Kira.
Yeah.
Okay. Mom, Dad, and?
Kira.
Sister?
Oh, wife. Wife, I'm his
nice
wife.
to meet you.
He sustained knee injury in the first offensive possession of the Washington game. The surgery is considered groundbreaking and will decrease the amount of recovery time for Moroni. It will quicken his return time by an estimated 40%.
What's up, Cougar Nation? Just got out of surgery. Everything went well. Road to recovery starts now. Hashtag finding out why. Go Cougs.
The surgery method used on Moroni was developed by world-renowned sports medicine surgeon Dr. James Andrews. He is among the first to pioneer this surgery in Utah. Moroni is the first patient to have the surgery outside its creation center in Alabama. Laulupututau was the leading receiver for the Cougars before the injury and will attempt to return next season.
Colin Kaepernick receives an award for his contribution to the African American culture. The award he received and the organization who presented it to him coming up.
A look back at the life and legend of iconic BYU broadcaster Paul James.
I don't remember how it started.
What's that?
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana.
How does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
The reigning Super Bowl champs came out swinging and put away the New York Giants 34-13.
A couple of years ago, he kicked the kicking net.
Odell Beckham Jr. showed his concern for the Giants' offense as the Eagles' defense put more pressure on Eli Manning than he could handle. Destiny Violi, Fletcher Cox, Michael Bennett, and Nigel Bradham of the Eagles all sacked Eli, along with an interception by Kamut Gruber-Hill. The Eagles advanced their record to 3-3, and the Giants fall to 1-5.
Former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick was awarded the W.E.B. Du Bois Medal by Harvard University on Thursday.
The love warrior of his generation in sports, Colin Red Kaepernick.
The medal is considered Harvard's highest honor in the field of African and African American studies. The award is given to individuals in recognition of their contributions to African and African American culture.
The Brewers are looking to continue their hot play as they take on the Dodgers of Los Angeles at Miller Park in Milwaukee.
A lot of friends and family that they always told me growing up that if we ever played the Dodgers in a playoff series that they'd be rooting for me to do well, but us to lose and the Dodgers to win.
The Brewers, as the higher seed, will have the home field advantage with a game start of 6:09 Mountain Time today. Dodgers ace pitcher Clayton Kershaw will start Game 1.
Jimmy Butler of the Minnesota Timberwolves held a meeting with his teammates following a strong individual performance by Butler. Butler described the meeting as a players-only meeting, but the other players did not agree. The Minnesota guard has been at odds with Timberwolves coaches and the front office. The regular season begins for Butler and his team on Wednesday in San Antonio.
BYU women's volleyball continues their dominant play this season.
Mary's just our Energizer bunny.
How the senior captain is leaving her mark on every set.
When we come back, a heartwarming story of a cross-country runner who overcame physical obstacles to receive a collegiate scholarship.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
BYU remains the top volleyball team in the nation after crushing San Francisco last night. McKenna Miller played a big role in helping the Cougars come out on top. In the 3-set sweep, Miller had 11 kills and 4 aces. Lindy Hadcock-Epic also had a great game last night with a double-double of 27 assists and 11 digs. BYU squashed their opponent in their first set with a score of 25-12. Women's volleyball team will now be up against Santa Clara tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Levy Event Center. Fans can catch the game on the W.TV.
BYU's most successful sports team this fall is women's volleyball. The Cougars are undefeated and ranked #1 in the nation. Sportsline reporter Adam Gibby went to learn more about the team and their success. So Adam, how is this team dealing with all their pressure?
So I actually talked with a lot of players and coaches, and they said that the stress isn't really getting to them. However, there is one player who seems to be making everyone else's job a lot easier.
That is the sound of being ranked #1 in the nation. The BYU women's volleyball team is 16-0 and have only dropped 2 sets in the last 13 games. Despite having a huge target on their back, head coach Heather Olmstead says that the pressure isn't getting to their heads.
We just want to see how good we can be, and the ranking, if that comes along with it, then so be it.
Players like Ronnie Jones-Perry and McKenna Miller have been a brick wall for the Cougar defense, but there's one player who stands out from the crowd, even though she's the shortest player on the roster, Mary Lake. Lake plays libero, which is a very unique position in volleyball.
We can't swing and we can't jump and attack the ball or set the ball in front of the 10-foot line with our hands. And so we're basically like a ghost player.
So what can she do?
Stanford goes to the slide. Look at Mary Lake keep that ball up. Perry pushing it down the line. The Stanford defense.
This season alone, Lake has 232 digs, which gives a lot of confidence to her teammates.
Definitely makes it a lot easier having Mary back there. She gets balls up that no one thinks she can.
Lake finds ways to keep plays alive, such as this one that got her on ESPN SportsCenter's top 10 plays.
Look at Mary Lake lay out!
Even though Lake has rules on what she can't do, she takes advantage of what she can.
Yeah, Mary's just our Energizer bunny.
After every point won or lost, Lake leads the team in the team huddle with encouragement and confidence.
Give credit where credit's due, even if we lose a point. So usually, that was a good pass or a nice high swing, we got the next one, or you got this.
After interviewing Mary Lake, I was very interested to see how tough it is to get a dig. So she gave me a lesson. If you want to see that, make sure to tune in next week. I'm not going to give a lot away. However, I will say there's a reason I'm wearing long sleeves, and I've been wearing long sleeves all week.
Well, at least it didn't hit you in the face.
Yeah, at least I didn't do that.
That one. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, no problem.
Longtime BYU sportscaster Paul James passed away on Saturday at the age of 87. Players and fans of BYU sports have many reasons to honor and miss the legendary broadcaster. Sportsline reporter Kim Peterson takes a look back at the life and legacy of the voice of the Cougars.
Today we remember Paul James, who was something of a legend on BYU campus. During his career as a sports announcer, he was known as the eyes, ears, and voice for Cougar sports. He broadcast BYU games for 36 years. During that time, he made play-by-play commentaries for more than 500 football games and over 900 basketball games. His commentaries will be fondly remembered. And even though he will be greatly missed, he left behind a legacy at BYU.
Basically set me on the path that I'm still on today. I wouldn't have the job I do now were it not for Paul James. So his influence was deeply felt by thousands upon thousands of fans over generations who really relied upon Paul for the accounts of the game. He loved BYU and they loved him right back.
Greg Rubel knows how much BYU football meant to Paul James. James became a familiar voice for BYU fans during the nearly 4 decades he announced sports games.
I loved listening to him call football and basketball. And I think the thing that I remember most about Paul James is his enthusiasm, his preparedness, and the fact that he was the ultimate professional.
It was clear that James had an incredible impact on BYU sports fans. But his good friend Wesley Ruff says that James was more than a sportsman.
He was just a good guy. His life was not defined just by wins and losses of BYU football or basketball.
Ruff will never forget his last visit with James.
So I called him and said, hey, I'm taking you to lunch. Can you go? We're going to go next Tuesday. He said, okay, great. Just come pick me up. And then I took him home and said, we need to do this again. And then, he passed away. So I'm glad I got to do that.
Paul James will always be remembered as the legendary voice of Cougar sports. He touched many lives and made a lasting impact wherever he went. There will be a brief in-stadium tribute to James before kickoff at tomorrow's football game. Kim Peterson reporting for Sportsline.
BYU golf flies under the radar in this fall sports season, but Peter Quest is making quite a splash in WCC play. After being named the All-WCC first team as a freshman, he was the WCC Player of the Month. Quest in his junior season is having a standout year, shooting under 70 every single round.
The Utah Jazz started fast and put the Sacramento Kings away 132-93.
It's a different ballgame.
Lob. Oh, beautiful pass. Donovan.
Rudy Gobert led the Jazz with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. Derek Favors, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Grayson Allen, Alec Burks, and Jay Crowder all put up double digits in the victory. This win marks a perfect preseason for the Jazz, finishing a 5-0 record. The Jazz will tip off the regular season when they play the Kings on Wednesday.
The Kansas City Royals are suing the National Women's Soccer League over the Utah Royals team name and logo. The Kansas City Royals logo features a crown, which is also seen on the Utah Royals logo. The crown for Kansas tops the blue and white letters KC, while Utah's crown tops a red and gold lion. The Utah Royals attribute the royal theme to tying in with the Real Salt Lake soccer team. The NWSL denied the allegations on Monday, saying there was no likelihood of confusion between the logos. The final deadline for the case is March 2020.
Making strides with cerebral palsy and with Nike, Justin Gallegos doesn't let his disability slow him down. Tom Waite finds out more about this inspirational partnership.
He's just a great kid.
Parents Brent and Tracy Gallegos have so much to be proud of in their son, Justin. He's a college student and a cross-country runner at the University of Oregon who just scored an endorsement contract from Nike.
There's been many moments along his story where, you know, he surprises us and these great things happen.
Justin made great things happen in the face of great adversity. Justin has cerebral palsy, a condition that affects muscle and motor function. That didn't stop him from pursuing his dream of becoming a pro runner. And last weekend after Justin's college race, a representative from Nike showed up, surprised him with a contract, and captured the moment in this video.
I've never seen him that emotional.
No, never. He's worked very hard for it, and when he sets his goals, he sets them very high. And he always says, I make my goals very high and so scary that I have to go for them.
We spoke with Justin tonight about this moment via FaceTime from Oregon.
I'm still kind of in shock that it actually happened.
Justin hopes his story will help inspire others.
You don't have to let your disability or physical impairment stop you.
You can do anything you put your mind to. It doesn't matter if you have a disability or not. And Justin's living proof of that.
In Santa Clarita, Tom Waite.
And Nike has been working with Justin on making a shoe more suited for runners with disabilities. Isn't that so sweet?
That's what it's all about. That's what sports can do. It can take a story and then it can impact so many lives because of it. Just that guy's a hero.
I absolutely love it. Many plays left us speechless this week, but only 3 truly made our draws drop. Get your popcorn ready because top plays are coming back after the break.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk. No matter what you're going through, I just want you to know I'm here. I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Break out the champagne for the Boston Red Sox as they beat the New York Yankees in 4 games, as Steve Parrish gets a low hit for the game-winning out that sends the Sox to the ALCS.
The Utah Jazz dethroned the Kings in Sacramento yesterday, and Georges Niang has his Kodak moment on a nasty reverse slam.
The New York Rangers forward Brett Howden shows off the touch and the skills. He takes a short pass, then does the double nutmeg through his legs and the goalies for a highlight reel goal. That was some top plays, but now it's prediction time as we peel back the curtain of time and gaze into the future to give you the answer for tomorrow's questions, such as who will win between BYU and Hawaii. And Adam, we'll start with you. What's your prediction?
So I think that Zach Wilson, if he does indeed start, I think it's going to give a spark to the whole team. Not just the offense. And for that reason, I think BYU will be able to beat Hawaii. Hawaii only put up a few points against Idaho, so the defense should be able to hold them.
Okay. Haley, what do you say?
Oh, I love the Cougs. I hope that the excitement of this week and traditions and perhaps a change will help a win.
Lindsay?
Yeah, I got to go with BYU. I think probably Zach Wilson's going to be playing a lot more and will energize the team and the fans. So go BYU.
Let's make it 4 for 4. I'm picking the Cougs as well. The other big matchup quickly we've got to talk about is Washington plays Oregon in the Pac-12 in Eugene. Adam, we'll start with you again.
So this is going to be a great game. This is a top 20 matchup. I do think, though, that Oregon is going to win. They had a 99.9% chance twice against Stanford. Weren't able to pull it off. They're not going to make those same mistakes. I think they're going to beat Washington in a high-scoring game.
Haley?
Oregon. I love Oregon.
I'll take it. Lindsay, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Oregon, their quarterback is one of the top NFL prospects. New coach, they're at home. Go Ducks.
Taking the Huskies. I think Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin get the job done in Eugene. I think they make it happen. I'm taking the Washington Huskies. So, that being said, do you think Zach Wilson will be the starter tomorrow?
I think he's either going to be the starter or they're going to give Tanner Mangum one possession just because it is homecoming, it's his senior year. Maybe give him the start, then bring in Zach Wilson and see what can happen.
All right.
I hope so too. And here's our Cougar reminders for the coming week. Softball plays against UVU tonight at home. The homecoming football game versus the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors kicks off tomorrow at 8:15. Women's volleyball and women's soccer travel to California to take on Santa Clara and Pepperdine tomorrow afternoon. And women's basketball makes their debut in a blue and white scrimmage on Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
That is Sportsline for Friday, October 12th.
Thanks for joining us and have a great day. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.